if you can demand a lot of attention, which Cletus absolutely does when he does a live stream while racing, there's 40, 60,000 people watching that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the sport's most respected voices, just made a statement about Cletus McFarland that has everyone talking. It wasn't just casual praise, it was the kind of bold endorsement that could blur the line between YouTube fame and NASCAR legitimacy. Known for speaking his mind and choosing his words carefully, Dale Earnhardt Jr. rarely hands out compliments without reason. But his recent remarks about Cletus McFarland have stirred the motorsport world. What began as a simple comment has turned into a serious discussion about talent, opportunity, and how unconventional racers are changing NASCAR's future. From the outside, Cletus McFarland's path into racing looks like a shortcut, a side-door hustle into one of the most grueling professional sports out there. But Dale Jr. sees something else. He sees potential, drive, and, most importantly, value. He's pretty smart, but he may continue to run ARCA, whatever he does.
Yeah. He's pretty smart. But he may continue to run ARCA, whatever he does.
Dale said, recognizing not only McFarland's ambitions, but his adaptability. This isn't just a hobby for Cletus, it's a full-blown mission. When you look at the traditional ladder of racing, go-karts, late models, ARCA, trucks, Xfinity, and then Cup, Cletus's path is anything but standard, while others like Carson Hocevar and William Byron have made their mark in unique ways. None have come in quite like Cletus, straight from YouTube to ARCA with barely a pause. But as Dale Jr. put it, there are no rules to this. Dale saw the raw footage himself. He watched Cletus's in-car camera at Bristol. I see a lot of the things that he doesn't know, but as the race went on, he adapted and he learned and he got better, Dale explained. That quick learning curve made a lasting impression. He started to understand where and how to push the car, and so a ton of this stuff is completely foreign to him.
Look, man, I mean, there's no rules to this. There shouldn't be anybody's. I'm gonna talk from a traditionalist standpoint. You got a guy coming in and he tried to race ARCA, and I watched his in-car at Bristol, and I see a lot of the things that he doesn't know. But as the race went on, he adapted and he learned and he got better, right? And he started to understand where and how to push the car. And so a ton of this stuff is completely foreign to him.
Still, Dale Jr. was quick to put things in perspective. It's not out of the question for a guy his age to say, hey, I want to go race. I'm going right to ARCA and I'm going right to Daytona. That is not a new thing.
It's not out of the question for a guy his age to say, hey, I want to go race, and that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go right into an ARCA car. I'm not going to run a street stock or a mini stock or a late model or anything like that. I'm going right to ARCA, and I'm going right to Daytona. I mean, that's not a new thing.
It might not be conventional, but it isn't unprecedented. What matters is what a driver does once they're in the car. And Cletus, he's doing more than just driving. He's building a movement. This all started with a bodiless Corvette C5 named Leroy. Back in 2009, Cletus began documenting his garage builds, track days, and crazy automotive experiments on YouTube. What began as entertainment evolved into a media empire. His channel wasn't just about horsepower, it was about hustle. He turned a Chevrolet El Camino into a drag strip monster named Mullet. He bought and revived an abandoned 3/8-mile asphalt oval in Florida, now known as the Freedom Factory. Cletus renamed the shuttered DeSoto Speedway and turned it into a hub for car culture, burnout contests, and grassroots racing events. His vision wasn't just to compete, it was to build a community and keep a piece of motorsports history alive. What makes the Freedom Factory so unique is that it became more than just a track. It became a content engine, a proving ground, and a rallying point for automotive culture in the digital age. It drew fans from all over the country and gave amateur drivers a chance to experience competitive events in a controlled, thrilling environment. With Cletus at the helm, the venue didn't just survive, it thrived. In 2022, he made his official debut in Stadium Super Trucks, competing at Long Beach in the number 1,776 truck. Later that year, he entered the drag racing scene, further expanding his racing experience. By 2025, Cletus was behind the wheel for the ARCA Menard Series. joining Reddy Jones Racing at Daytona. He went on to compete in 3 more ARCA events that year, signaling his growing commitment to competitive racing. Dale Jr. admitted that he didn't know much about Cletus until recently. That changed fast.
You know, when he got involved in buying a racetrack and started having some races, you start to say, hey, what's going on down there? And
Dale recalled, curiosity turned to admiration as he watched Cletus promote events, race competitively, and pull fans into NASCAR who had never cared before. Cletus made an appearance on the Dale Jr. download, and it turned out to be one of the most impactful episodes yet. It was exciting to realize they were reaching fans who might never have watched a NASCAR show before. Dale said, acknowledging the tidal wave of new viewership Cletus brought with him. After the show, Dale traveled to Talladega, where Cletus was set to race. He planned to share a bit of history, but Cletus had only one focus: speed. He's all about going fast and having fun. He's all about cars and car culture, Dale observed.
He really is. He's all about going fast and having fun, and he's all about cars and car culture.
When Cletus rolled in with his beastly Dale truck, a drag machine with more power than common sense, Dale couldn't resist. He took it for a spin. He said,
so we show up to the racetrack at Talladega, and he's got that Dale truck.
Yeah.
Clearly impressed. But what stood out most wasn't just the speed. It was Cletus's mindset. He's really, really smart and always sort of proactive on creating content, which was fascinating.
I don't want to waste an opportunity. He's really, really smart and always sort of proactive on creating content, which was fascinating.
Dale explained, for someone with a non-traditional path, Cletus is incredibly calculated about where he's headed. And then there was the gesture that sealed it. After wrapping up the podcast and heading out to celebrate, Dale's team realized something unexpected. Before we could finish lunch, Cletus had already paid the whole tab. That's just who he is, Dale shared. Quiet generosity. No cameras, no announcements, just authenticity. That's when Dale said it plainly.
He's good for the sport. He's good for us. We're all curious.
He's good for the sport. It's a big statement, especially coming from a man whose family name is etched into NASCAR history. But the numbers, the energy, and the fan engagement all point to the same thing. Cleetus McFarland is breaking barriers. His ARCA debut showed rawness, yes, but also a steep curve of improvement.
I watched his in-car, his ARCA race at Bristol, and tried to really truly see what he's learning as a driver. Watch his entry, his line, how he picks the throttle up, and how he really evolved as that race went on was really...
Dale noted. Now there's talk of more. Rumors swirl around Cowlick Racing hosting a gong show, a kind of reality-style driver competition that might include Cletus. It would be a high-stakes, high-visibility proving ground, and while nothing's confirmed, the buzz is building fast. In this new age of motorsports, a driver's impact goes beyond just lap times. Cletus brings an engaged audience, an entrepreneurial edge, and a passion that's hard to teach. He streams his races live to tens of thousands. He fills venues. He sells out merch. That kind of influence turns heads in boardrooms. Manufacturers like Dodge pay attention to those numbers. Teams weigh fan engagement just as heavily as lap data. Cletus doesn't just have reach, he has staying power, but there's still the business side. Racing full-time isn't cheap. Cletus runs a successful media empire that demands time and focus. Every race means a trade-off. Every series entry has to make financial and strategic sense. Yet the door remains open and fans are watching. Reports suggest Cowlick's rumored competition could take place at a karting facility in Virginia, with drivers living together and competing over several weeks. No phones, no distractions, just skills, personality, and pressure. It would be a test not just of talent, but of endurance and charisma, all things Cletus has in spades. In this shifting landscape, Cletus is redefining what it means to be a racer. His blend of performance, media savvy, and genuine love for the sport is a potent formula. And Dale Jr. sees it. He doesn't just see a YouTuber behind the wheel, he sees a future contender. He didn't need us. We got a lot more out of this than I think he did, Dale said with unmistakable respect.
We got a lot more out of this than I think he did. He didn't need us.
That's the bombshell. It's not just that Cletus McFarland has broken into NASCAR, It's that the sport, in many ways, has opened the door for him. And with Dale Jr. backing him, that door just swung wide open.
Incredible day, incredible scenes. And the 33-year-old from Elk Grove, California, Kyle Larson, comes to the line and is a two-time champion.
Kyle Larson just turned Denny Hamlin's perfect day into another heartbreak. For 319 laps, Hamlin controlled the race, leading 208 of them and sitting just 40 seconds from his first Cup title. Then, a late caution flipped everything. Larson took a risk, Hamlin played it safe, and history repeated itself in the most brutal way. Let's rewind. The 2025 Championship 4 showdown at Phoenix was set to be one for the ages. Hamlin, Larson, Byron, and Briscoe all came in with everything to gain. But for Hamlin, the stakes were different. At 44, he wasn't just racing for a trophy. He was racing to rewrite history, to shed the label of greatest driver to never win a title. And through 300 laps, he was doing just that. Hamlin was dominant from the drop, starting from the pole and running like a man possessed. His Toyota was untouchable in clean air, building a nearly 3-second lead with just a few laps to go. Victory and redemption were seconds away. But racing, like life, doesn't care about your plans.
Easy. Okay.
Oh boy, William Byron. William Byron has a tire issue and the caution is out. He was the only one of the Championship 4 who didn't have a tire issue, Kim, and now it's struck.
That's when William Byron's tire exploded, sending him into the wall and bringing out a late caution that sent the championship finale into overtime. In a split-second decision, teams headed down pit road for the final call of the season. Hamlin's team chose 4 tires. Larson's team? Just 2. That single call would change everything. On the restart, Larson had track position. Hamlin had grip, but not the time. In a 2-lap shootout, Larson powered through to 3rd, highest among the Championship 4. Hamlin only made it back to 6th. Ryan Blaney won the race, but Larson walked away with the title. It was cruel. It was dramatic. It was NASCAR.
Denny Hamlin on the right was so close.
Post-race, Hamlin sat motionless in his car, a towel draped over his head, daughters crying nearby. He had led 2/3 of the race. He had done everything right. And yet, the championship slipped through his hands again. "We were 40 seconds away from a championship," he said, stunned. "Just praying for no caution." And we had one there. This isn't new for Hamlin. It's the 6th time he's lost a title shot in devastating fashion. 2010, 2014, 2019, 2020, 2021, and now 2025. This one, though, cut deeper. It was his first real shot in years. He was loose all weekend. He'd rented houses for friends and family. He was ready. What made it even more painful was the caliber of Hamlin's performance. He wasn't just keeping pace, he was dictating it. Every restart, every pit cycle, he was in control. The number. 11 car was fast on both short and long runs, showing speed in every lane. Analysts were already talking about how this would be the most dominant championship performance since Jimmy Johnson's peak. And then, one tire changed everything. Kyle Larson, meanwhile, was deep in a 24-race slump, winless since May, coming off a disappointing attempt at the Indy 500 and Coke 600 double. Nobody pegged him as a favorite, but when the moment came, he pounced. "We didn't lead a lap and won the championship," Larson said in disbelief. "We had an average car at best. It's just unbelievable. What a year by this Motorsports team." And it really was. Larson hadn't dominated, he hadn't dazzled, but he was there when it counted and made the aggressive call that won him the war. That's racing. Byron, who triggered the caution, was devastated. "I hate that," Byron said. "I obviously didn't want to cause a caution. If I'd known the tire was going down, I would have done something different." Hamlin's teammate Chase Briscoe finished 18th. Byron, Larson's teammate, limped home in 33rd. The only one from Hendrick who cashed in was Larson, and it was all thanks to a strategy call that left Hamlin's title hopes in the dust. What many fans might overlook is the mental strength it takes to make a call like the one Larson's crew made. taking 2 tires is a high-risk, high-reward decision. If the car loses grip, it's game over. But crew chief Cliff Daniels believed in the moment, and it paid off. It's another reminder that championships are won not just with horsepower, but with nerve. The finish reignited debate around NASCAR's playoff format. How can a guy lead 208 laps and lose to someone who didn't lead a single one? Fans were divided. Was it fair, or was Hamlin robbed? Even Ryan Blaney, who won the race but wasn't in title contention, admitted, "You do have to feel for that group, and Denny, they had the fastest race car here. Just one of those things where it doesn't work out." Larson's victory wasn't dirty, but it was ruthless. He played the format perfectly. 2 tires got him track position, clean air helped him survive, and with that, he became a 2-time champ. Meanwhile, Joe Gibbs Racing was in shambles. Crew members were seen crying. Some slumped on the pavement. Gibbs himself stood in silence, hand on hip, not saying a word. It was another devastating chapter in a story they've lived too many times. Hamlin held it together, barely. He hugged his crew. He faced the cameras, but his words carried the weight of every close call he's ever suffered. "I'll try," he said. "But man, if you can't win that one, I don't know which one you can win."
I'll try. I got a couple more shots at it, but, man, if you can't win that one, I don't know which one you can win.
And that's what makes this finale so brutal. There was no crash, no dirty block, no blatant sabotage, just a split-second decision and a system that rewards guts over dominance. Larson wasn't the best that day, but he was the smartest when it mattered. If you're Denny Hamlin, what more can you do? You dominate, you lead, you prepare, and still, it's not enough. It wasn't bad driving, it wasn't poor strategy. It was just timing. Terrible, heartbreaking timing. To make matters worse, this race exposed a recurring flaw in the championship format. NASCAR's playoff system, introduced to heightened drama, does just that, but often at the cost of fairness. Fans have long debated whether a one-race finale truly determines the best driver of the season. In Hamlin's case, the system felt more like a trap than a test. On social media, reactions poured in. Supporters were devastated, labeling the finale a robbery. Even some Larson fans admitted it felt wrong, despite acknowledging his brilliance in seizing the moment. "This isn't how a championship should end," one tweet read, summing up the mood. "This wasn't just a race, it was a case study in heartbreak, in the razor-thin margins that define greatness and grief in motorsports. This race will go down in history, not just for the chaos, but for what it says about the sport. NASCAR loves drama. It thrives on unpredictability. But when that unpredictability crushes a career-defining moment for a veteran like Hamlin, it leaves a scar." Fans were split. Some celebrated Larson's nerve, others mourned for Hamlin, but everyone agreed this was one of the most gut-wrenching finales in years. So what happens now? For Larson, it's vindication. After months of struggle, he's a 2-time champion. His legacy is growing, his team delivered under pressure, and in the biggest moment, he didn't blink. For Hamlin, it's another long offseason filled with questions. Can he come back again? Does he have another run in him? Or was this his last best shot? Phoenix gave us answers, and even more questions. But one thing's certain, Denny Hamlin's championship curse is very real. And Kyle Larson, he just added another page to Hamlin's heartbreak story, whether he meant to or not. NASCAR can be brutal. On Sunday night, it was heartless. The NASCAR world didn't see this one coming. Richard Childress Racing just made a bold move involving Kyle Busch, one that's turned heads across the garage and sparked fresh debate about what's next for both the driver and the team. In a move that sent waves through the sport, Richard Childress Racing, RCR, has confirmed it will continue its partnership with 2-time Cup Series champion Kyle Busch through the 2026 season. After months of speculation about Busch's next step, this extension signals more than just loyalty. It's a statement about RCR's direction and Busch's determination to stay in the fight for another title. Richard Childress himself, a figure synonymous with NASCAR excellence, stood proudly beside Busch during the announcement, exuding confidence in what the future holds. "We're proud to continue our relationship with Kyle Busch and remain focused on our shared goals of winning races and championships together," Childress said. "Kyle is a tremendous racer and ambassador of the sport for our fans and partners. This partnership began in 2023 when Busch, after a 15-year run with Joe Gibbs Racing, made the bold decision to join RCR, the reunion with Chevrolet, and the new challenge of driving the number.